Hi there. Well, I'm setting up for this operation to machine out some parts, like some pockets in here to allow electrical fittings in. And so, interestingly, well, unsurprisingly, these sides here are actually not 90 degrees from here. So if you just drop it down on there, you're not going to be true. So I happen to have, I would like a V-block, but I happen to have this big old lump of aluminium that I scored from a dead instrument from work, and they're just throwing away the material. And so I've just clamped that down. I've been a bit, it just looks a bit, it's all right. That's clamped straight down through here. So I'm not worried. That's really, really strong. And the same on the other side. And that gives me a face here that's parallel, vertical, and 90 degrees from the machine. And I put my little half moon, actually had this machined, this table machined, because when I got it, these T-slots were just not all the same size. So I took the table off and I took it into a guy that I've had do work for me in the past. And he wouldn't let me pay for it, so I had to buy him a case of beer to cover it. But now they're all machined to the same size. So I just turned off this piece here and as a piece of round, and machined it down to the size of those slots, then just cut it in half. So if you drop them into the T-slots, that means that this is true. So I just pulled this box up against them, pushed that block up behind that, and now that means it's everything square. I don't even have to check it. That's the nice thing about doing that, is you don't actually have to check anything for square, because it kind of has to be square. And then I've got a box of 5 of these to do. So now I've just clamped it. I had to put in this bit of wood to hold it, just to get it so these wouldn't run out of screw. But yeah, that is now completely clamped. Now I'll put a stop on this end. Just clamp a clamp on against that, so that I've got something to push it against, which means that when I swap these over, they'll all be repeatable. I mean, it's not super critical. These are just going to have some fittings in here. The way these were being made before was they were just measuring off the previous one. There wasn't a drawing. And hand drilling and filing. And I've got my digital readout up here. So once I true this all up, I've drawn up a drawing. But once I've trued this all up once, I reckon I can machine these out in a bit less time than it takes to hand file them all. So I'll probably spend about, I don't know, what's the time now? I don't know, 40 minutes, half an hour getting that set up. And it's all, I think, I'm just going to use a small milling cutter because I don't want big radiuses in the corner. And I'll probably make up a custom drawing, or at least dimension it. I've got the drawing, and I'll set up dimensions so that I get positions relative to a reference point for all of them, or all of the cutouts on all sides. So I can just, go to the... I could do this in 2 ways. I could use relative positions. I can give myself a relative 0. So I could give myself a 0, 0, and then I could move to a center, a known point, and then give a relative center, not an absolute position, and then go off and machine it, and then go out of that relative position, relative position, and go back to absolute, then move to the next position and give myself a relative center and work around that. So I might do that. It's probably easier because you know what size you're machining of the pocket. So just means you can probably think about it easier. But I need to get a copy of the drawing, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so I'm making these electronics boxes, and I'm making these front panels. I've done a little dig out there. Fortunately, this goes in here, and it pretty well covers up my little blooper. But to do this, I'm using the digital readout on the mill, and this is my little cheat sheet I've got to make the parts. So this is the box oriented as it goes into the mill, and these are the distances in for each of those. There's 171.5 on this and 174 on that side, which is one to keep an eye on, and 174 here, and they're 17 and 41. Now these are the sizes of the actual hole, so I've numbered them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so I'm only doing this rectangular ones at the moment because I can just drill these ones, and I'll do that. I've got a setup on the mill, so I can just swap them out, so I won't worry about changing this spindle, the collet chuck for the drill chuck each time. So I'll do the I'll swap out the spindle and put them all back in again. But so these are the orientations. So this is the X, so that's in X, and this is the Y, that's the Y. And these, so holes 3 and 5. So 3 and 5. This one, that's 4, 6 and 7, 8, 9 and 10. And what I've got a 6mm cutter in there. So if I want to make a hole that's, for example, 16.2 by 22.2, then that's number 3. I need, if I put the readout into incremental mode, which I'll show in a second, and I put it on the center, if I move backward and forward 8.1 from the center line in the y-axis, and 5.1 plus minus in the x-axis, then I'll get that hole. So I've got them for each of them. So 4, 6 and 7 of that, 3 and 5 here, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so now I'm going to use the relative position versus absolute mode. So this is 0'd on this corner of the this corner here, and that's my reference point on my drawing. So if I move to 90.5, that's where this center line here is a 90.5, and 17, this point here is 17 down. That is the correct start position, center position for that. And now if I go into incremental mode, and I've zeroed it already, now I can move relative to that position, and when I'm finished I can come back to my absolute mode. So to cut this hole, this is hole number 4. So number 4, I need to move 2.5 each way. So come here, set this at 2.5, and I'll just lock that, start this, and cut through and lock that. And now, looking at my chart, for hole number 4, I move plus and minus 5.1. So 5.1, lock that one, and now I move 2.5, lock that, near enough. Now back to 5.1. Again, that'll do. And now come back, 2.5. 2.5. And now I come back to centre. And that's the first hole cut. So that's right. Now, I can, it's probably easier for me to think. If I go, that was at 90.5, if I go 117.5, oh, go back to absolute, 117.5. Absolute position to the center, and I'll lock that. And if I took this to 17, I'd be at the center of that hole. Now I go back into my incremental and I zero. If I go back to absolute, yeah, Y. Okay, let's just get that on the zeros. There we go. And 170.4, and I'll go absolute. What? Incremental. That moved. Crap. That just the handle dropped. Right, so there's, right. Now go to incremental, and we can see 0, and we're 27 mil across on the x-axis. So I can zero that. Oh, no, I can zero that. That lets me enter numbers 0. And now we're on hole number 6. And so it's the same. So 2.5. Crap. 2.5. I mean, I'm going crazy here because it doesn't matter. But, you know, I'm a bit obsessive. Ah, crap. All right. So now, I'm at the beginning of that hole. And now, I lock that. And now, on, this is hole number 6. And I go 5.1 again. Six is 5.1. Yeah. And now I go 2.5. And a half. Now 5.1. go. Back to 2.5. And back. So that's how, and now I go back to absolute mode and I can run this back to 41. And this one goes to 119.5, 117.5, sorry, 117.5, and we go back in incremental mode and we zero. And so we continue. So now watching the cutter, so I've got that zeroed, and this is hole number 5, and so 5 is 8.1, and it's so I'm back at 8.1 now, so that's the bottom of that hole. And lock, and now I need to go across 5.1. Right. That's hole number 5. 5.1. Seems a little far, but I think it must be right. 5.1. Now I need to go 8.1. Oh yeah, that's right. .1. And hole number 5, 5.1. .1. 8.1. And there's another hole. Right, so it's just more of the same. It's just more of the same now. Go back into absolute mode, go to 90.5. And 90.5, and this will be 41. Don't need to do this, but I will anyway. Anyway, so 41. Into incremental mode, 0x, and let's do it again. Actually, 5.1. .1, 5.1, and there we have another hole. So I won't bother filming all of this, but yeah, I don't have a CNC mill, and I wonder with 5 off whether it'd be, I mean, by the time I did all those calculations, it might have been quicker to do it on a CNC with a nice little conversational control CNC, but I don't have one. So I've got what I've got, and I'll make what I can with it. So, here's one done.